Good afternoon. This is Marianne Franzese, and today begins the first episode of Tug of Heart, a podcast that I'm doing with my dear friend,
Hi.
Lori,
As a matter of fact, here I am.
in honor of her son, my treasured student, Seth John. So, Lori, Tug of Heart.
Yes. I'm going to start. Of course, you guys that know me know I'm going to backtrack right away. One of the things Seth used to say, we used to say to Seth when he came home or his dad comes home, being from South India, okay, Vanakkam, welcome. And I've already jumped the gun and gave you the punchline here, but we're at the age where Steve remembers when the first TV, not black and white, not color, not black and white, the first like almost community TV.
Wow.
Like somebody got a hold of it and then they're going to tell everybody what happened, like the papers, okay? And conservative group of people, the South Indians, want to preserve their culture and they're loyal to it. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, what is this? You're going to put the TV. It was bad enough to have music, far and few between, brought into the houses. And I'm spending more time than I want on this. But anyways, so they're like, didn't know how they felt about it. The very first time the TV came on, they're like, what? There's this kind of soft light. And a gentleman sitting at a table, and he's like, Vanakkam.
Vanakkam.
Very, probably calmer than what I said, Vanakkam. And at that point, they were like, we're cool. We like this. So Vanakkam is a Tamil word, Tamil being the native tongue of some South Indians, made of Van, and then Akkam. Van means just to worship, okay? And everybody needs to bear with me. Going to be some crying the first few times we do this, maybe the first year, who knows. Mm-hmm. And Ak is actually a symbol of three. Mm. I didn't know this till after, but it's something we'd say to Seth, and he said back, and he just liked it. It's
yes.
dad's tongue. Who doesn't want to be like their daddy? And Ak actually is a symbol of three. If you would picture a pyramid, one circle on top, two on the bottom. And you and I love three anyways, but what it means is it's your two eyes and the third eye. And the third eye, to them, is where God resides. Mm-hmm. And so when you say Vanakkam, you're greeting the person and the God that resides in them. And I just find it so, I'm going to cry, but like this is how, one of the first things you helped me to teach Seth to expand, which came from Joanne Tobin, my sister-in-law. She started it, and then you helped me. Salutation. Mm-hmm. He was very big on that, and doing it proper. So when we come in, we'll try different ones, but our go-to will be Vanakkam. And so everybody knows we're greeting them and one another and the God that resides. This is who we're addressing.
Well, no, it's very beautiful and key in this very first show.
Yeah, because
we're
winging it here.
No, it is the beginning, and the beginning is clumsy.
Of course.
By nature. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there will always be a third presence in our podcast, which is Seth. Mm-hmm. And you lost Seth, Lori, it's a month ago?
Yeah, very recent, yeah.
Very recently.
We're raw.
And Seth, I came to know Seth because he was a student at Spark. Mm-hmm. And so he's here with us. There's this third invisible presence of God with us and guiding whatever comes out of our mouths. Mm-hmm. And if it's, clumsy or not, it is pure to the three.
Right.
And
wow,
I
love
that. I love it.
And that you said that even gives me like some calm. I feel like I can I don't feel like I'm obligated to be strong, but it gives me calm and strength just to hear that, because when I'm coming in here, like we were thinking, like one of the things I was thinking was like, I'm not ready. I'm not. How like, Marianne, how you doing? How's everybody doing? No, seriously, how are you doing right
Yeah,
now?
no,
We
and
haven't had a chance to talk. I
It's
mean,
true.
how are you
and
today?
to truly tap into that and answer it authentically,
Yeah, be honest. This is
right? I'm weary.
Yeah, tired. I'm tired.
I am very tired. I am recovering from deep loss. And I am trying to continue to create in the world. And that's what this is about between me and you, is how after great loss, and maybe even because of great loss,
Yes. Yeah.
do we pick ourselves up and begin to create with the materials that are here? And it's still there. The word is the word you just said, raw. These are not refined thoughts or feelings. It's in a state of rawness.
One of the things I've heard you say, like, over the few years I've known you, is to show up. Okay. And when I was thinking on my way in here, how am I doing? I was like, awful, cried a little on the way. And then I was thinking, there's this quote I used to say when I was young, back before we would remember quotes, because we couldn't just Google them, and we didn't have memes and whatever. We committed them to a notebook, and we knew them. And so, being young, I kind of just liked some that were ironic or witty or whatever, and it would be like, wherever you go, there you are. That's it.
Love that.
And I was thinking, I don't know why it came to me, and the point of this is listening to our heart, but this came into my heart on the way, because I was like, I'm lousy. That's how I'm doing. Like, I'm lousy. But instead, let's not ask, like, how are you? Let's ask, where are you? I'm here.
Well, that is a very big distinction,
This
Lauren.
was inspired between the two of us. And it doesn't matter how you are or how I am. We showed up. And heart to heart, just thank you, for starters, for doing that. It's crap. It's going to storm, while we're in here, likely. We showed up. So.
No, as women, and I think this is really very profound what you're getting at. As women, in many ways, we are destination.
Yes.
We at our best are the place that people arrive at.
Landing spot is what I call it.
Landing spot. So for you to say, the question isn't so much how are you or who are you or what are you. It is, where are you? And depending on where you are, do you have some room for me to join you?
Yeah.
Is here we're at this Christmas
I'm in bloody
season.
hell, welcome.
Right.
Come
Is
with
there
me,
room at the inn? No, there's no room at the inn, but I'm in the manger. There's room in the manger. Come sit with me on the hay.
For the communion,
And,
just to join.
To join. Is there room for that? And what in this process of seeing your child very quickly go through what he went through with cancer, anyone that you let in to that space, anyone that I've spoken to who's had a conversation with you during that time, any of the posts that you put up on Seth's page made us better. It's a strange paradox, Lori.
Isn't that funny? And I'm crying. That's just me crying.
You are have access to a space that we're all humbled to sit in the presence of that, because we talk about tug of the heart. What tugs on a heart more than a mother who's lost her child? It's the greatest of tugs.
The one thing that I commit to. It's just the way I'm made or have made myself. This has been like 20 years working of listening to my heart. Okay, coming up on 20 years, rough prayer life, rough lessons and all. But I set out almost 20 years ago. I've told you, and people have heard me say the story. When I was 30, I was like, I've had more than I deserve, whatever happens. It was also about that time. I had a nice life, did all right, for myself and everything. And I was like, this is what I've orchestrated, and I can see it, but I've also just kind of like micromanaged myself from the outside in. I haven't really lived. It's very hard to explain, and not to just jump into me, but this is the only, I don't have any other perspective to share with you. And it was at that time that I was like, there's got to be more. I don't want to be this. I wasn't super nice. I'm by nature kind of deep, philosophical. I wasn't putting it to great use. I liked it because I liked the rush of knowledge, the high. You're not.
No,
she's
I'm
not in your head.
very
I'm so
strongly-
relieved to hear that because this
am.
is embarrassing, but it's the truth, and it should be told because I've come a long way, and part of the process of coming a long way has been at times for me as a Christian, and this is available to anybody, not to Christian women. It's or men, any faith, any non-faith, any haters of faith, any political party, to respond to what's in your heart. It's good stuff in there.
It is, and I am
And
nodding.
it's a great guide.
It
Great guide.
is, and we are not in practice and preparation for the wisdom of the heart. Our culture isn't made for it. We're a culture that does worship knowledge, right? And
I still do. This is still a struggle. And ego.
Right, because in a sense, we have to be careful what we worship because it always leaves you yearning. So if you worship knowledge, you're always left feeling like, I don't know enough. I need to know more.
What is it, Barbara Streisand? The more I learn, the more I realize, the less I know.
And what you're talking about is moving into the heart is a worship of the divine. And to worship God also brings a yearning. Mm-hmm. But it's a yearning. It's a yearning for connection, for the integration of mind, body,
Yes.
soul, and this heart guide. Like you said, heart language is not soft and fluffy. It can be like exfoliating, like really
And by
difficult.
exfoliating, let it be said, what she means, if you've ever seen a video of paragliding gone wrong on the beach, that kind of exfoliating.
Yes,
where somebody's being
dragged
dragged
out.
through the sand and they've committed 3 layers. I don't know why I pictured that.
No, because it's like a
this is-
layer of skin gets rubbed off.
Because when I've seen those videos, I'm like, well, that's one way to exfoliate, I guess. Like, you see somebody just like, that would be me. So yeah, I get that. When you're talking about the heart, the soul, and I can't remember what the other one was.
Even
you
the
said.
mind.
The
'cause
mind,
the mind
but
too.
it's the 3 of them in conjunction with something more. And
Yes.
and this is what I would call like giving assent to something more to coordinate those. And when you give assent, sometimes they're in line, sometimes they're not. We're still a work in progress. But that's assent is essentially yes. So just to back up, you get a tug at the heart. 2 ways to answer it: yes or no. Mm-hmm. Nothing in you could say it's not even. I'm busy. Don't you see? I'm rocking this mom thing. You gave me 10 kids. That doesn't cut it. It's yes or no. That's a no. Mm-hmm. And when you do give assent to me, that leads to working with something greater than us, which is how we make it. None of us has what it takes to make it here. And so here's the big magic word that I use. You ready?
I'm ready.
Do you need it spelled? It's being in cooperation with the supernatural.
And that's being
the
in
payback is
cooperation
massive.
with mystery.
Uh-huh.
So with, when you're in cooperation with something that you know the ending of, like this is what I will achieve if I am cooperating. You're talking about a cooperation that has an element of surrender to the goodness
Yes.
in all beingness.
Yes.
All beingness.
And mystery in the sense of, I would go back to the word mysterion. So it's not mystery, a whodunit, a Sherlock Holmes mystery, woohoo, where we find a little pleasure in the mystery. But a mysterion, which is like mystical type of, and mystery. You're a big fan of Desert Fathers and the mystics.
I am.
Okay, and this is very plainly, mysterion means the intention of it is to be revealed.
Oh,
So
see, I
you're
didn't know
not
that.
like, oh, it's a mystery, but nobody's ever asked to be blindly faithful. But if you feel blind, then yeah, have some blind faith. If that's what it takes. But mysterion doesn't mean not for you. Just do this. Trust me, there's something behind my door. That's Oz. That's not what it is. It's to be revealed. And part of it is being in cooperation. And then you do get, and that's how it is revealed more and more and more.
I remember you said to me once, and it was when I was going through the heart of my divorce, and you just said in passing in the hallways, you were like, when God is summoned, Marianne, revelation is on its way.
Oh.
Isn't that a
Good
great
for me.
quote?
I don't remember that.
No, but
I
that
say,
it stayed with me. So it was just summon the assistance, and the revelation will come. It's a matter of God's time
and here's the
God's
thing:
way.
we're to summon God, we were first summoned, and it's actually that we responded, and it's that's how it works. And I just want to include that you need not call it God. For my purposes, I will unbending, but it's for everybody. The heart is, and it's a great guide. Your conscience
it's the
and
human.
your heart. Yes,
That's
it's to be
beautiful.
human.
It's because God gets confused with religion, and this is not about religion. This is about knowing something that is so uniquely human and has been kept somewhat like in the closet of knowing. And it is a woman's way of knowing, is through the heart and the denial of the heart. And when the words came to you, tug of heart, it like shook me, because immediately what came to my mind was tug of war.
That's what I pictured too. But
Because
it is.
tug
It can
of
be.
and it is but the tug of war is opposite, because there is a winner or a loser in
That's
tug
right.
of war.
That's right.
And there is someone who comes out victorious, and there's someone who comes out losing. And it's usually a team. It's between groups of people. Tug of the heart, it is in Native American culture, when they skin the deer,
I'm so
they
sorry.
give the hide to the children, and they tell them to play the tugging game with it. But they warn, they say, you cannot tug too fiercely. You have to tug on the hide so that it stretches
Right.
and it softens. And if you tug too harshly, it will be torn apart. So to me, the tug of heart is the tugging of the deer skin. It's about expansion and softening.
And we always call
there
it-
needs to be resistance.
Yes.
But there's the brilliance of giving this task to the children, because children play with it like a game. We take our heart very seriously as adults. And the tuggings, it's a banter, and it's something that I've treasured about you and I. You and I have resistance between us.
Oh gosh.
Right? We've
I
had
didn't mean to be
resistance.
that quick to agree, but
No.
yeah.
But we've always
It's-
tugged like they tug on the deer skin.
And it does need to be said that it's not like we're here high-fiving each other and we're cool, but there is, when you respond to the tug of heart, it is always a call, and you and I have a really deep respect for this, not because we're tremendous people, but part of it is that we've been humbled many times. I've told you before, you have two choices in life: be humble or get humiliated. It's better to be humble because when you're not humble, when your turn comes, it comes in the form of humiliation. I've had both. A lot of humiliation. I'm very stubborn, and a lot of bad habits that come with the hard heart. Prayed for years to have a soft heart, and also with the stretching is the softening of the heart, which we hear. We all get what it means. You don't even have to explain that. And the expansion of the heart. Your heart grows, and it's uncomfortable. It has plenty of rewards, but one of the rewards it doesn't have. It's very hard because it's so tempting to partake in this reward that you get from just giving in instead of like cooperating with the supernatural or your heart is to give into the demands of the world or whatever. And you get really quick gratification. But that's the reward, and that's it. Yeah. Oh, you were so great. You run so fast.
Right.
So what's the reward? Because I ran fast.
It's an accomplishment.
And it's like, and then what? Well, part of the reward is, and you can't. But this is a call to communion where, look what I am doing, and you can. Very different. And the reward is in itself that you're responding. It's not being lifted on shoulders, but it's being elevated. And it's so much more meaningful. I didn't even know we were gonna be touching on this.
No, but
you
what
talk for a moment. I'm gonna just kind of.
Well, this idea of elevation, and it is one of the reasons that I am so, in a way, blown away by the idea that we can be sitting down doing this today after what you went through. Because in our culture, we tend to elevate certain kinds of suffering. And you said to me very clearly, this conversation that we're beginning today is not about, look at how I've suffered over the last 9 months in walking my son through what I had to walk through. This is about showing up in the complications and richness of this dark night of the soul, and having to keep living without his body here, and finding another way to commune with him. And that is a very different approach to this conversation. And I said to you yesterday when we were talking about the phone, the image came to me of the podcast being our pilgrimage.
I like that.
500 miles or 500 shows, I don't know. But we are going to be walking through these moments of connecting and deep contemplation, because that's where our conversations take us.
Naturally, that's what we do, yes.
So that we can be in the world and continue to tap into what you were just talking about, an inspiration from the heart. A clearer listening to what is the tug, and can we answer yes?
And learning to recognize it, because it takes
Yes.
practice, because there's a lot of things tugging at our heart, and guess what? They're not all good.
Okay. Yes, discernment. That's
Yeah.
been my
Which
biggest
is another
lesson in
thing.
the last 10 years.
Which actually, by saying this, we talk and it goes where it does. Like we're not excellent at planning what we're going to talk about because we're just talking and people get to listen or not listen.
Right.
Totally worth doing this just to sit and have coffee. We're having some coffee, guys, and talk to you. But this is such a good time, as a matter of fact, to introduce what we had thought we would do today.
Yes, our
Which
special
is
guest.
Our honorary guest.
Honorary
today,
guest.
During COVID, until we can have some other guests. I'll let you do the introduction because that's what you do.
Yes, so we were thinking about this idea of who do we think we are to be having this conversation? And Lori said, we have a certain authority. And we began thinking about authority and authority coupled with humility.
Yes.
And even sometimes humiliation. And thinking about where our authority comes from. And if it comes from the heart, what are those characteristics? How are we authorities? And so it's for us to kind of own our own authority in this.
Yeah, I mean, and when you think of, like, usually when I begin thinking of something or conversing about something, my approach, which you see over and over, is first, like, let's have some common understanding what we're talking about. Because a lot of times people are talking about two different things.
Yes.
And for a long time. And they're having a fight that doesn't even exist. So you know what I'm saying? So like,
Yes.
One of the things we talked about, because we said like, we want to talk about tug of heart very casually. And we're like, what does this even mean? And I was like, well, I know what it means to me. I've been doing this. Well, I know what I mean. Me and you named it because we know what we mean. Why does anybody else care that we say this? Number one. Number two, who are you to tell me what my heart's saying? Mm-hmm. And it takes an authority to have some say or influence in your life. And the authority comes from like a legal authority or a moral authority. Mm-hmm. Like Marianne has some moral authority. I probably can't speak too much about my authority because I would say I don't consider myself an authority, but I don't think I need it to be in a conversation. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is I'm not better than anybody to be talking about this, but you know what? I did show up today, and I'm not worse, and I deserve a seat at a table as much as anybody. And that's the point. Anybody's welcome. Mm-hmm. I want to say this. Marianne, do I have
you have it, say
permission to speak freely, even if it's to embarrass you or anything? Or
I'll cope. I'll deal with it. What am I going to do?
Because one of the things I can say is, like, I can speak to a little bit, how we see ourselves isn't how other people see us, but it's embarrassing to you and part of it to me. Just how you've become kind of gained some authority, some say and influence. Let's say some influence in some of my choices with my most precious treasure, Seth, and with myself. And like I've gone to you for advice and stuff. It's not something I quickly do. I'm cautious. I'm skeptical. I am going to say, and I'll try to say this quick, how I can remember. I mean, I've always respected you, and I've given you your say. But I can remember there's been a few pivotal moments that I trusted you a whole lot more. Mm-hmm. And this is like, I don't know when I say this who it's worse for. So that being said, I met Marianne at Spark. It was Kid Esteem at the time, okay? Right. Principal of the school where Seth went. And nice lady, of course. Having said that, that's, nice. Nice is great. Good people, bad people, nice. So people generally stay neutral to me until I see otherwise. And I do remember people coming up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, Marianne's the best. Isn't she the best? And I was like, not enough information
Right,
yet.
sure.
Fair enough. People are going to be like, how can Lori say that? Marian's great. Got it. But I'm me. I can't change my design. And then I actually have heard people say, she's such a goddess. And I would see like your wall, just this curtain of notes, people thanking you. I remember at your office, I'm like, what is this? Like, do I slide this oh no, that's a door. It's just like pasted with all these things and a lot of adoration. And people really would be like, isn't she a goddess? And they wanted an answer from me. And I'd be like, okay, that's cool, but I'm monotheistic. So like, I don't know how to.
Yes, I totally get
and
it,
I'm also,
I love that.
And
that
I'm
you're
also rigid.
skeptical.
I'm rigid.
Yes.
Okay, so my stumbling blocks and you being an authority is like, as soon as somebody says that, I'm like, ooh, alarm.
Yeah, last thing I want to be
And
is a
second
guru.
thing is, I will learn what I need to know about Marianne from Marianne, good or bad. That's one thing that I try to do with people because
What makes
to me,
you a good friend to me?
To me, it would be a disservice to you if somebody's like, oh, wait till you see this.
No.
And if I just grabbed it, that's
Absolutely.
not fair. But to be true that I wouldn't grab the bad, I also couldn't do the good.
Right.
It's not right or wrong. It's just like who you are to me is going to be distinct. Having said that, all this stuff goes on. And with time, I see you're awesome. You really are. Okay, but you're not an authority because of that. You've shifted lives. You've saved some lives. Like the cool trends of the heart, of health, of a psyche, and this stuff is all commendable. But it's still not my. It's not what I use to exchange. But I like it. I get it.
Yeah.
And it did make me like you, but not enough because I am made rigid. We'll get into that later. You're charismatic. I wouldn't have been able to say why, but I can remember. I'm going to hurry up because of time. The time, and you and I've had a couple really strong run-ins and stuff, and that can ding somebody's. Even if you get why they would be an authority, it can make you want them to just not be one for a year, for 6 months, whatever. And I'm using that little wicked voice. I didn't quite go that wicked, but I'm human. And when things changed for me, we already have had reconciliations and strong and very confident in our friendship, and more than friendship. I would never really call you a friend, but I know you're kindred.
Yeah, sisterhood.
I don't even know
of
how to,
some kind. Yes.
it's different. But I can remember I'm gonna cry. I don't know, 'cause I'm emotional. The night you rose to authority. I have no idea why you even said this, because you're a nut, and this is embarrassing for you. But it was after one of the fairs at the school. You and I were just talking, cleaning up. And you just told me like something that had happened to you. And you'd done this before, but this one struck me different, where you said like, I was sitting with my daughter watching a show last night. I know your face.
I'm remembering.
You already gave permission.
Thank
I'm not going to look at you
you.
because I don't want to be stopped.
Yes.
And Marianne flat out said, it came across her, this reality, not a moment of weakness, not self-doubt, but it was as if a reality hit you and you're like, I'm a loser.
Yes.
And she was shocked by it. She's like, I'm a loser. I'm a loser. Now that I've spilled the beans, that turned into almost a frantic, she kept saying it. And then she began crying, and then her daughter's crying. This is what I'm picturing of it. They're embraced, and Marianne's sobbing, I'm a loser, I'm a loser, I'm a loser.
Yes, exactly how it happened.
Now, Lori, being crappy Lori she is, but bear with me. I was like, Marianne, you're an authority to me. And I see you as a tremendous person. I really do. But it wasn't in that moment because you came to my level and we could be closer. It's because I was like, I'll be damned. I could go to her level because I'm a loser too. And because
Yes.
there's something that you respond to. I'm going to cry because it's not like, I feel like we're more kindred because she's just like me. That's never what I thought about. But I was like, well, she's a loser and she's running kind of a big
Now,
outfit here and she's moving a lot of stuff. Bam. This is to me what made you an authority.
well, and that is, first of all, the fact that you can be giving me this gift, and this, again, at a time where you have lost the ultimate gift of your life. You've lost. So you know what it means to be the loser in many ways. And
It's to have lost.
And if there couldn't be a better definition of authority of the heart than a heart that actually knows that it can survive loss and be made better
Yes.
because of loss, and actually get to the knees, like fall to the knees of, I am, in fact, nothing. I am no thing. I could have all the accomplishments, but there is a depth to me. There is
You know
a
what
place
you are
where
when
I
you
end.
have lost everything and you're nothing? You're an empty vessel.
Yes, Lori, that is
And
what we're
to be
talking
filled,
about.
And when you're nothing, and you're like, and some of us have to be brought to our knees. Unfortunately, I do. Over and over, and bigger and bigger. And when we get emptied, that's the time. I have a decent prayer life anyways, and I am who I am, and I've tried for years to listen to my heart. But there's times that I ask to do just a little bit more, and I even have gone so far as to be like, I give you permission, God, to make me. And sometimes things get cleared away so you don't have these excuses. And this is not to say, I do not want confusion that I see as Seth is clear. Nothing to do with that. We're talking about something different. But if nothing else, it's to say that there is a lot left after loss, and there's a lot given. Seth has so much to give. That's why we're here. His giving just started, Marianne.
And the fact that you are willing to share it, and this is where my authority comes from, is I know you are in the state of mystical space. Mm-hmm. Because I saw your relationship with Seth on this earth, mm-hmm. and there is no way that death is going to end that relationship.
No, it's bigger.
And you have access now to a kind of knowing that you're willing to share. And that's the generosity for all mm-hmm. of us.
And just to reiterate in 10 seconds, we're not authorities. This is a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And what we are saying is that we're saying yes to having the conversation, and let's start it.
Let's start it.
And so here we are.
And next week we'll be back, and we will be back every week. So
don't forget to listen
and to love.
Mm-hmm. Please farewell.